Welcome back to The Jump. We now welcome in Malika Andrews, who is also down here in Orlando, inside the bubble. Malika, outside that Celtics locker room, what was it like listening to it in real time, and how will the Celtics approach the next few days? Honestly, that's my bigger question, because you've been covering this team not just last night. I want to give you credit. You have been down here since the beginning. First reporter in the bubble. So you've been with this team day to day. And I just want to know how you think what you heard last night is going to morph over the next 2 days to Saturday night.
Well, Rich, you know where the barrier is, about 25 feet from the mouth of the locker room. That's where I was standing with our friend Gary Washburn, who works at the Globe, when we started to hear just yelling, some screaming, some swearing coming out of the locker room. I saw Marcus Smart leave the locker room, turn towards the restroom, and he was still swearing. But I want to be clear, there were other players yelling. He's just the only one that I saw. In terms of how this can impact the group going forward, I think a couple of things. Everyone on this panel knows just how fiery, how much heart, how much soul this group has, and that's part of the reason that they're good. That's part of what translates to the court. Jaylen Brown said that he's hoping that fire that Marcus Smart showed in the locker room, that's part of why they love him, and they need that to continue to translate to the court. But to be honest with you, they should be frustrated. They were up by double digits in that game. They had control over the majority of game one, and both times it slipped away, and that was an issue for them in the Toronto series as well. They lost every single third quarter to Toronto. So what I'm expecting to see is not necessarily this individual incident bring this group together. I think they're already a fairly tight-knit group. But all of those emotions that you heard, I expect to see that on the court. I will be a little bit disappointed or a little bit confused if I don't see that anger, that fire translate to them really pushing to get that win and get this series to 2-1.
And Richard, if they can do that, if that does become something that they can put together for an entire game, especially in those third quarter, as Malika points out, do you feel that that could be a real turning point? Or do you think what you have seen in the last few games, what you saw last night during the game, post-game, means that there's deeper issues here?
Well, this is the thing. When you're going in and rewatching the tape, like we already saw the highlights where you had Jimmy Butler tapping a ball, running out of bounds, coming back in, and you see multiple plays of this. So are the Boston Celtics. And then you have the play where Bam Adebayo just basically walks around four people and gets an offensive rebound in a key portion of the game. So to me, Brad Stevens is going to go in. It's like, guys, this isn't hard enough. This isn't good enough. It doesn't matter if people are yelling and screaming. At the end of the day, this isn't the effort that's going to get you out of this round. It ain't going to be the effort that's going to win you a championship. So either we're telling the truth to ourselves or we're lying to ourselves. And right now, their effort, they're lying to themselves. And hopefully that's what the conversation was about.
Right. I agree with you, Richard, but there's one thing that we're all forgetting. Miami has a lot to do with why the Celtics are frustrated. Let's not lose sight of that. They were completely flummoxed by that zone defense in the third quarter. They had trouble penetrating, which is curious since Toronto played every single kind of zone known to man. And think about the first half. What a great job they did on Bam Adebayo. The way to take Bam Adebayo out of his game is to have him put the ball on the floor or make him take a tough turnaround jump shot. He's not there yet. He probably will be someday, but he's not there yet. So yes, I think emotion is important, but you've just got to get the fundamentals of the game down. You've got to figure out how to break a zone, which I'm sure drives Brad Stevens crazy. I'm sure he couldn't believe that his team couldn't do a better job of that.
And to your point, Jackie, the Heat do have something to do with it. In fact, 34-year-old NBA vet Goran Dragic has been the unsung hero here. Last night, he was Miami's leading scorer, 25 points. He scored 7 huge points for Miami in the final 2 minutes and change. Malika, the Heat haven't forgotten how big a part of their team the Dragon is. What have players been telling you about his role on their team?
It's hard to convey, Rachel, just how much the Heat love this guy. I mean, Jimmy Butler especially has grown really, really close with Goran Dragic, and to the point that Eric Spoelstra described them as the odd couple to me. They're just always palling around together. He says that he feels like Goran actually helped have Jimmy Butler have just a better assimilation into the group. He said he helped him just kind of get to know his role around the team. And the other day when I was at practice and Jimmy Butler was shooting, every time Jimmy Butler hit a three, he yelled Zoran, which is the name of Goran's brother. So Everyone loves him in the locker room, but also everyone really knows he's super important on the court. He sparked their offense last night. He sparked their offense in multiple games. Other teams know that he's a threat. They need to defend him incredibly tightly. So his secret, his impact is no longer a well-kept secret.
Yeah, the nicknames they have for each other, it's amazing. And Goran's been through it with this team, right? There were some tough years there in Miami while they were trying to figure out contract, cap situation, players not living up to management's expectations. Goran has been there through all of that. He knows exactly what he is fighting for here. Malika, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.